Good Tuesday morning. Time right now is 8:30. This is the Community Voice program here on Newstalk 1330, FM 106.3, streaming live online at newstalk1330.com. I want to give a big shout out to our Haralson County listeners this morning. So we're going to talk with Haralson County Commission Chairman Ronnie Ridley here in just a second. Today is, again, Tuesday. We're about halfway through the third and final week of early voting for the June 9th election. You can vote in Haralson County all the way till Friday of this week. And then, of course, Election Day is Tuesday. And I want to remind you, we will be broadcasting live Tuesday evening beginning at 7 o'clock once all the polls closed. I'll be broadcasting from the Carroll County Elections Office, but we'll check in with Seth Kane. He'll be in Haralson County to give us the results of all those races, several big races in Haralson County this go-round, including for Haralson County Sheriff and for Haralson County Chairman. And as I said, we have one of the candidates, the incumbent. His name is Ronnie Ridley, and he's our guest this morning. Ronnie, good morning.
Good morning.
I appreciate you giving us time today to talk about your campaign. Of course, we're doing this over the phone this morning, as we've started that with all of our candidates during this campaign period. So we're just going to maintain it, even if people are feeling more comfortable about coming in studio. Give us your background. Talk about your resume, maybe just your life in Haralson County, your interests, your family, all that good stuff.
Okay. I've lived in Haralson County basically all my life. My late brother and I have operated businesses for over the last 40 years. I'm married to the former Mary Layton. We live in the northwest side of the county, and that's...
You'd mentioned you brought up your brother. Your brother held a commission seat. That you ran for in a special election. I guess, why did he go first? Why was he the one who went after the politics first? And I'm interested on, is that the really driving factor for you to carry on his potential legacy?
Yeah, he was more of a politician than I am, and he wanted to serve that seat. We both wanted to give back to the county that we feel like had been good to us. And when he passed, I went ahead and run for his seat, served 2 years as District 3 Commissioner, and have served the last 14 months as the Chairman and CEO of Haralson County.
Can you reflect on that 14 months and see what you think you've done well, and maybe, under your supervision, how the county's done under your supervision, and maybe what you could have done better or different?
Yeah, I think we've made some changes for the better, a lot of changes for the better. We've dropped, in the last 3 years that I've served as commissioner, we've dropped the millage rate 3 mills. We're operating under the county budget. We're not borrowing money. 16 years prior to the last 3, the county had to borrow money every year to operate on. We don't do that anymore. We paved over 60 miles of road in the last 14 months. We've implemented employee evaluations. Each department head evaluates each employee, and then I personally evaluate each department head. I feel like that way we're getting more out of each employee. We have sold some obsolete equipment that hadn't been used in, I don't think we've sold anything that's even been operated in the last 2 years. And we've taken that money and bought new equipment that we use every day, that will operate on a daily basis. It gives us more equipment to do more things in the county. I think the county as a whole is operating under budget. Even with the corona pandemic, we're going to come in under budget this year.
Anything that you second-guessed yourself on over the last 14 months?
Not really.
I was saying maybe not something that failed, but just even something that's like, maybe if I went this way, it could have turned out even better than it did.
Internet, I think we could have worked harder on it. I think that that's the corona pandemic has shown us the need for more internet. There's still a lot of parts of the county that doesn't have internet, and it's something that we need. Even though we earmarked $200,000 on the last splosh for internet, that's something we need to work on harder. Not saying that we hadn't worked on it hard. We work on it every day, but that's the one thing I'd like to see more emphasis on.
Yeah. There was a suggestion that Haralson County was in line to get a federal grant that would have gone a long way to setting Haralson County up with high-speed internet, benefiting more homes. I want to say that may have been 5-6 months ago, or, it all seems like the same month, I guess, over the last 4 months, so it could be even more recent than that. But, there were rumors online as to why that didn't happen, why that failed. What really happened there?
When that grant goes through the Department of Agriculture, Synchronet and EMC had filed for a grant. And from what I understand, when the Department of Agriculture came down and did their research, they had a provider that told them that they could provide internet service and that it wasn't as much needed as what the grant had said. But I think they have reconsidered, and they realize now that it is needed in the county. And due to the corona pandemic, the Department of Agriculture has allowed these grants to be re-looked at. And hopefully this grant will come through.
Yeah. How has lack of consistent broadband in the county hurt and attracting business, do you think? Obviously, we know how big a deal it was with the school systems and people being at home over the last several months, but I guess over the years when businesses are talking to you or the Greater Haralson County Chamber, how much does lack of broadband, you think, hurt the county and attracting businesses?
It's hurt it a great deal. It even affects the housing market. I think with the corona that people are going to move to the less populated areas, but they don't have the internet to work at home. I think this is going to bring what they call a sweatpants executive to a lot of people, and it's a problem that we need to fix.
Ronnie Ridley, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. He's the incumbent Haralson County chairman. On the ballot this week, and on June 9th, Brian Prince out of Buchanan is challenging Ridley this year. Before we do take our first break, another rumor that will attach, but I know is some truth to it. There was a development group that was looking at Haralson County for a place for an industrial park, and he's also apparently mentioned that developing a landfill is not out of the question, and that sparked a lot of rumors on the internet. What do you know is accurate at this point with that potential, with that rumor of a landfill for Haralson County, a municipal landfill at that?
As far as I know, he's not applied for any permits at this time, but I went and visited a couple of the landfills. They are huge landfills. I don't think that's something that Haralson County needs. It's garbage is here forever. We even send our garbage to another county, and I'm not for it now. An industrial park, I'm all for it. We need that, but I don't think we need a landfill with it.
And you can see online that there's already online protests and plannings for meetings and things. What's the actual process if somebody did want to start a landfill in Haralson County? What's the process they have to go through? And maybe we can give the timeline to those people who are concerned about it, so they maybe don't have to worry about it today because they can't do anything about it today. Well, what's the steps that that developer, that property owner, would have to go through?
They'd have to go through the Department of Natural Resources and make sure the land was compatible for the landfill. And he'd have to, Department of Natural Resources would make sure that he wasn't bothering any natural habitat. And then on this particular property, it would have to be rezoned. It's agriculture at this time. And then it would go before the planning board, and then they would make their recommendation to the Board of Commissioners, and then the Board of Commissioners would vote whether to rezone the property or not.
And along those same lines, when do you feel like it is okay to tell a property owner that they can't do what they want to with their own property? If they do come before the board and they want to do a rezoning to do a business, what's the biggest thing you're considering? And is it okay to tell them that they can't do what they want to do?
When it devalues somebody else's property, or when it's a nuisance to somebody else's property, the surrounding, that's the reason they have to notify everybody within 1,000 feet. And I don't think it's right if they devalue somebody else's property or contaminate it in any way.
Time right now is 8:41. Our guest is Ronnie Ridley. He is the Haralson County Chairman, and he is running for re-election. June the 9th is Election Day. Early voting going on this week all the way through Friday. We'll take our first break, come back and continue our conversation with Ronnie Ridley here on the Newstalk 1330 FM 106.3 Community Voice program, brought to you by Tanner Health System and Oak Mountain Academy.
At Oak Mountain Academy, our daily schedule includes convocation, prayer, and the Pledge of Allegiance. By doing so, we build a family-like community where all students grow and flourish and personal faith is encouraged. Through community service and a historical approach to biblical study, our students are taught the value of the warrior way, honesty, respect, and responsibility. Oak Mountain Academy. We are a family creating legacies. To learn more, visit oakmountain.us.
For more than 70 years, you have turned to Tanner Health System for your healthcare needs. As our community moves forward, Tanner is here for you. Strong, safe, and close to home. Routine medical appointments, urgent elective surgeries, and imaging are back on the calendar at our hospitals and Tanner Medical Group practices. With the safety of our patients, staff, and community always our top priority. Learn more at tanner.org. Hashtag We Are Tanner Strong. That's tanner.org. Hashtag We Are Tanner Strong.
.42 Community Voice on Newstalk 1330 FM 106.3, streaming live online at newstalk1330.com. I'm your host, Colin Worthington. At the conclusion of this program, we will post the entire podcast to the newstalk1330.com website. And later on this morning, and hopefully by early afternoon, we'll have this entire program posted to the Newstalk 1330 WLBB Facebook page, so you can go back and listen if you missed any of it, and share it via your own Facebook page. Our guest this morning is Ronnie Ridley, Haralson County Commission Chairman. Appreciate him joining us this morning. Ronnie, what are the biggest issues that residents continue to reach out to you and to county government about for their concern? What are the most common ones?
Water and infrastructure. Water, providing a permanent source of water, and the roads. Roads are a big concern to the constituents of the county, but we're working on those. Mm-hmm. Like I said before, we have paved over 60 miles of road in the last 14 months. We bid every fall for the next year, and we're in the process now. Hopefully we'll get another 15 or 20 this coming year.
When you're determining which of those roads, and I'm assuming you mean paving or even repairing, when you determine, how do you determine which one's in the list? How do you decide which one goes number 1 and which one goes number 15 in that list?
We do the worst first. So our public works director goes around and checks each road, which he pretty much knows because he works on these roads every day, and he knows which ones are in worse need of repair, and we're trying to do the worst ones first. Plus, we're trying to pave some gravel roads in the process. Some people have potholes, some people doesn't have blacktop to have potholes, so we're working in both directions to try to repair what we have and pave some that's gravel.
You had mentioned water concerns. Now, I've only been here for about a decade, and I think, so if my facts are wrong here, please correct me on this, but just based on conversations I've had over the last decade, the state had spent a lot of money on a reservoir for Haralson County, and it was discovered at some point an endangered mollusk or some other species was inhabiting the reservoir. Does Haralson County government continue to revisit that? Do they keep going back to that reservoir to see if anything has changed?
We went back in the last year. I also served as the chairman of the Water Authority, too. And we went back in the last year, and the mussels are still there. So we have started looking at other sites. We would like to have smaller lakes and have 2 or 3, maybe 5 up the river from the waterworks. And we're utilizing some lakes that's already there. We've got permission with some of the lake owners that we can drain those lakes in need of a drought. So we'll continue to have a water source.
What's that body of water being used for now? The one with the mollusks.
The one with the mussel.
Mussel, yeah. I'm sorry.
It's not a body of water. They couldn't get a permit.
Oh, I got it. Okay, I got you.
So the land is just sitting idle, and I'd like to see that land sold, and let's move forward.
What could it be used for, you think?
It could be used for development. It could be used for hunting habitat, or even we have talked with one gentleman that would like to use it for wetland.
I guess along those lines, what are some other legitimate untapped opportunities for business in Haralson County, do you think?
There's a lot of opportunity for growth here. We need to get a industrial site up and going that the county owns, that we can have pad ready for somebody that wants to come in. Comcast is going to upgrade the Tallapoosa system and the corridor all the way to Waco. Both cities should be high-speed internet, and if they're looking at options of running it to the interstate, where down the Tallapoosa, down the Highway 100 corridor, and hopefully that'll attract some people.
When does Haralson County's business year start? Are you doing it half year, quarter year, beginning of the calendar year?
It starts July 1.
That's okay, so you guys are working on the budget right now.
Yes, we're working on the budget. We've got a preliminary $16,545,000 budget, which is up $300,000 from last year, and it includes a 2% raise for the employees of the county.
Is a millage rate possible for this budget, following this budget?
I think the millage rate is going to stay the same. I don't think it's going to go up any, but I feel like it's may stay right in the same area.
What do you have to work through if you were, were going to decide whether or not to raise the millage rate, or to encourage the rest of the board to raise the millage rate? What do you have to decide? What do you have to determine for you to support a millage rate increase? What do you have to work through?
It would have to be something along the lines of a development, industrial park, or something like that. We're operating at the way we're operating now. We don't need to raise the budget. We've got enough money to operate on at the millage rate we have. We just need to conserve more.
Are you a supporter of the special purpose local option sales tax for Haralson County?
Yes, sir. Without that, we'll have to raise property taxes. That provides, I've heard you said it's a wish list for the Board of Commissioners, but the fact is the cities get nearly 40% of it, and the county has paid for the jail, or will be paid for next May. It's the last splosh did a 911 upgrade. We spent nearly $1 million on recreation. We spent $1.4 million on water. $2 million of it went to public safety. That provides. They bought 2 new fire trucks with it last time, and the sheriff's department buys their vehicles out of this without having to go up on the millage rate. $200,000, like I spoke of a while ago, went to the internet, and $2 million went to the Public Works Department for roads and bridges and equipment that the county needs.
To jog my memory here, did Haralson County did voters support a transportation splost?
Yes, sir. It went in. That's what's enabled us to pave more roads. It's been real good. We're over a period we should collect about $10 million off the T-Splosh for the county, and the cities also enjoy a portion of that, the same as they would with the Splosh. They get a percentage to upgrade their roads, and every bit of this has been spent with the roads. And the commissioners early on, before this T-Splosh was passed, we passed an ordinance that money was being spent on roads had to continue to be spent on roads, and the T-Splosh would be extra. It would not go to what was previously used in the past.
Is there a potential for that to come back in the next 4 years? I mean, should you remain as chairman? Would you be able to bring that back if you wanted to voters?
I would want to. Yeah. I would want to, because it's been a real benefit to the county. It's enabled us to upgrade the roads, and it's a real plus. I think if you ride around over the county, you'll see where the roads have been paved, and it's going to enable us to pave more of the gravel roads and get our infrastructure up to par.
All right, it's 8:52 right now. We're going to take our final break here, Ronnie, and come back and wrap up our program with about 7 minutes to talk about Ronnie Ridley and his campaign for Haralson County Commission Chairman. Again, 8:52, Community Voice, brought to you by Tanner Health System, Oak Mountain Academy, here on Newstalk 1330, FM 106.3.
For more than 70 years, you have turned to Tanner Health System for your healthcare needs. As our community moves forward, Tanner is here for you. Strong, safe, and close to home. Routine medical appointments, urgent elective surgeries, and imaging are back on the calendar at our hospitals and Tanner Medical Group practices. With the safety of our patients, staff, and community always our top priority. Learn more at tanner.org. Hashtag We Are Tanner Strong. That's tanner.org. Hashtag We Are Tanner Strong.
At Oak Mountain Academy, our academic excellence shines through innovation and a personalized educational experience. Our pre-K 3 through 12th grade environment offers a family-oriented atmosphere. We are an independent school with faith-based values and an Academy Honor Code. Our academic standards prepare our students for college and beyond. I'm Patrick Duran, headmaster, inviting you to visit us on the mountain or at oakmountain.us. Come see how our warriors are creating legacies.
8:53, Community Voice, brought to you by Tanner Health System, Oak Mountain Academy, Newstalk 1330, FM 106.3. I'm your host, Colin Worthington. We are wrapping up our conversation with Haralson County Commission Chairman Ronnie Ridley. Ronnie, should you continue as chairman in the year 2021, what we want to talk about with the new sheriff? There will be a new sheriff no matter what. What are some of the first conversations that you have with the new sheriff going to be like? What questions are you going to want answered? What information are you going to make sure that you convey with them?
We've got a drug problem in Haralson County, and I'd like to see the new sheriff work more on that. I'd also like to see the process move quicker. Get the inmates in and out of jail. It costs us almost $50 a day to detain an inmate, and why sit there for 4 months waiting on a hearing, and then they release them the next day? Let's get that process moving faster, and it'll alleviate the jail population, and it'll alleviate some of the tax burden that the jail has.
We've got about 5 minutes left in the show. Just to get a couple more questions out to you. Who are your mentors and your heroes growing up in Haralson County, and maybe those individuals that you still turn to today for guidance or advice? I think that, growing up in a small community, a lot of people, they recognize the people, and they'll be, oh, yeah, I know that person, I worked with that person, and that person's important to me too. Who are those guys for you?
It's a long way back. E.D. Lively was one. Tony Ellis was another. Philip Edson was another. I think they did good jobs of doing what they did. I think watching them and talking with them has helped me further in business and my personal life too.
How many county parks are there in Haralson County?
It's according to where you count we got the canoe launches. We've got the recreation park at Buckhannon, and we've got still on the one at Car Rent that's we're not using anymore. But we've got the one at Buckhannon that's a upgrade. It's a real nice park, and all we need to do is finish it. There was $1 million on the last splosh earmarked to that. We still like a few new fields. The T-Splosh money is going to pave the parking lot, and if the new splosh passes, we've got $1 million earmarked in it to finish that park and get it right up to par.
Time right now is 8:56. Going to wrap up our conversation with Ronnie Ridley right now. Ronnie said we bump into you on the streets of Buchanan on Monday, and somebody says, Ronnie, I'm not haven't really decided. Vote for you or vote for Mr. Prince. And they say, hey, why should I vote for you? What are you going to tell them?
I've operated a business in this county for over 40 years. I operated those businesses with over a $15 million budget, the same as the county. I have managed over 100 people in my business, and experience matters. I think the last 14 months I've spent in the commissioner's office has made a difference in the county. I think it's made a difference with the employees, and in the end, I think experience matters. I'm ready to go. I'm there and ready to go.
Ronnie Ridley, our guest on this morning's Community Voice, and thank you. Appreciate you talking to us, Ronnie.
Thank you for allowing me to.
Absolutely, and good luck with this election. Again, early voting continues through Friday of this week in Haralson County and in Carroll County as well. Election Day is Tuesday. Want to remind you at the end of Election Day, when the polls close at 7 o'clock Tuesday night, you can tune in to Newstalk 1330, FM 106.3, KISS 102.7, or WKNG King Country 93.7. We'll broadcast live until all or most of the numbers are counted, till we have a good idea who wins those elections. I know there have been times where we've waited on numbers that took a long time to come through, and we probably shut down the program after 3 hours, but had a good idea who won. But we'll be there bringing you all the numbers and the winners and losers, and hopefully do some interviews as well Tuesday night once the polls close. Again, Election Day is Tuesday, the 9th. I want to thank our guest again this morning, Ronnie Ridley, for joining us on the Community Voice. Going to post this program in its entirety to the Newstalk1330.com website under the podcast section. Then later on this morning, we'll put it on the Newstalk 1330 WLBB Facebook page if you want to go back and listen to something, see if there's anything that you missed. Time right now is 8:58. Stay tuned for national headlines, followed by local news. And then Glenn Beck is on the air from 9:06 until 12 o'clock noon before Rush Limbaugh is on the air. Appreciate you joining us. Thank you for listening to the Newstalk 1330 FM 106.3 Community Voice program, brought to you by Tanner Health System and Oak Mountain Academy.